You already know this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Our government's broken and we need to fix it. It's easy to point the finger at banks, corrupt politicians, special interest groups, or some other popular target of our wrath. However, the problem is us. That's right. It's you and it's me. I'm an engineer, and you may be asking, why should you trust advice from an engineer on political matters? Well, that's a great question, and here's my answer. As an engineer, I've evaluated and fixed complex systems, and whether you know it or not, the way that we govern ourselves through politics is a system. Think of our political system as a black box that has an input and an output. In our political system, the input is the people's will, and the output is a great place to live. Now you must ask yourself, is the output what we hope for in our political machine in the United States? Most Americans say no, and I agree. Now you may think, well, the government's not perfect, but it's the best I can hope for, right? Well, maybe, but probably not. Let me explain. 3 recent opinion polls place the economy and inflation, immigration control, and health care as the top priorities among American citizens. However, our government's top agenda item is increased military funding for foreign wars in Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Now, this happens to be our current situation. However, I could pick any time in recent history and show a similar disconnect between the people's will and our government's actions. Politicians are not motivated by fixing our broken political system. Instead, their focus is on getting elected in the next election cycle. Now, in a well-operating political machine, their re-election relies on them correctly addressing the priorities of the American people. Now, you may believe that with your one vote, you can do little to change the direction of a political system that doesn't care what you think. You have no bank account to bribe politicians. You don't have influential relatives or large activist groups to cause havoc. So let me explain one more element of our political system. I mentioned that there was an input and an output. I also noted that the output does not reflect the input. While that's true, it's not the whole story. Our input is also dysfunctional. In a broken political machine, politicians use demagoguery to win elections. A demagogue is defined as a political leader who seeks support by appealing to the desires and prejudices of ordinary people rather than using rational arguments. We're highly polarized and support our political party with little understanding of political issues. We either rant about problems with those whom we agree, or we avoid talking to those whom we disagree. We can become more united by seeing past the emotion and bias. This doesn't mean that you give up your closely held beliefs, but it does mean that you listen to reason. If you listen to reason, you will not be persuaded by demagogues. You will be more likely to support representatives who speak truthfully instead of politicians who tell you what you want to hear. As long as our political system is broken, we will experience more significant division, our debt will soar, everything will be an emergency done at the last minute, and the output of our political machine will not even closely resemble the will of the people. As fate would have it, our world history is littered with broken government machines that started well and failed. I think we've come too far to allow our political machine to fail. If you're like me, you're used to getting news about our government from lawyers, political pundits, journalists, and politicians. Here's why listening to an engineer may be more helpful. All of our political experts are cogs in our political machine. While they have expertise, they also have biases and tunnel vision. When you watch, read, or listen to the news, you see or hear about the most recent tragedy, and political pundits then spin those tragedies into why they are good and their political opponents are evil. While this is great for selling advertising, it's terrible for giving information to the ultimate decision makers in a well-functioning government. I see the political system from the outside. Now, I still have biases that come to the surface from time to time. However, my main goal is to help us repair our political machine to deliver the output as it was intended. This is an introductory video to my YouTube channel and podcast, Reengineering Politics. In the 1990s, reengineering was a popular term for corporations attempting to increase efficiency and improve quality. I believe reengineering is an apt approach for our government's current needs. I'm going to occasionally discuss current news. However, my main focus will be correcting systemic causes at the root of our political problems. Now, in case you're wondering, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I attempt to see the good ideas in both political parties and ignore demagoguery. I also realize that politics turns people off. Many have formed an opinion about a political topic and they don't want to hear information that contradicts that opinion. I urge those of you who have checked out of politics to check back in to listen to an objective viewpoint. I hope to create a platform to inform you objectively on political topics so that you can participate in political conversations without the bias that has been so destructive for this country that I love. In future videos, I plan to cover immigration, climate change, political parties, voting integrity, income inequality, taxation, foreign relations, individual liberty, poverty, and ethnic division. News is good for catching you up on current events, but it's not the best way to learn about political topics that will ultimately repair our broken political system. If you like what you're watching, I urge you to click on the like button below. If you want to get notified about new videos as they're published, click on the subscribe button below. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope to see you again.